All right, so we're here to talk about Teams Premium. There's a lot of changes recently around Teams Premium and in particular around meetings. And that's really what we're here to discuss. The meetings that we're in every day, how might you level those up with Teams Premium? What are some of the features that Teams Premium offers for you to do just that? Before we dig in, brief shout out to some of the sponsors. Without them, none of this is possible, so thank you very much. Please visit their booths. And we'll go ahead and do a brief round of introductions. I'm Keene. I operate out of Southern California. I have a small consultancy there. We deal primarily across the M365 stack, including Teams, do several phone system migrations per year, but really the information architecture, Copilot readiness is our sweet spot right now. Also run the San Diego Microsoft 365 Productivity Group, and I'm a co-owner and engineer of Emperor Media Group, which is a company that does a lot of kind of what you see here with the production that's going on in the back of the room, that kind of thing. All right.
All right, my turn. So I'm Ryan Schouten, also based out of Southern California. I've been in the SharePoint space where I need to update my slide here. I was talking with some people and calculating in my head. I'm like, no, it's been almost 20 years now. I was like, I need to update my number.
You're old.
I know, geez. Says the older guy in front of the room. So we've got, like I said, I've been in the space for a while, Microsoft MVP. Also have my own consultancy and then partners with Galen at Emperor Media Group. And we love coming out and talking about these different things with people. So happy to be here.
So Ryan and I do a lot of work together, both within the community in Southern California and also professionally. And one of the things that we do, like I said, is event production and things like that. So it's not uncommon for us to go in and handle situations where companies are asking, what can Teams Premium do? And what do I get with my Copilot license? What do I get with my Teams Premium license? And oftentimes we end up having conversations that are rooted in enhanced connections. And so that's really how we like to frame this talk as we frame it with clients. Everything that you do from a human-centric, human-first standpoint can be leveled up with Teams Premium. And that's really how we thought about presenting this information to you. So we'll talk about the enhanced connections throughout. There's some specialized kind of meeting types that go a little above and beyond your typical Teams meeting. But beyond that, we'll really get into the flow of meetings, starting with scheduling a meeting, then what features are available during a meeting, and concluding with what features are available after a meeting, all in that same kind of vein of enhancing the connections that you have with the others that are in the meeting, and in some cases with the others that weren't able to join for whatever reason that may be.
And then we'll kind of round out about talking about some of the updates that went into effect April 1st. So a little over a month ago, Microsoft made some pretty interesting changes. So we'll talk about what those are. And then one of the things as we're going through this session today, one of the things we're going to talk about as well is where you need a Teams Premium license for which features. Because not everything requires everybody to have a Teams Premium license. You can get a lot of value just for targeted personas from having a license instead of having to have everybody have to have one. So we're going to call those out as they go through, but if we miss one and you're wondering, don't hesitate to reach out and say, hey, which license is needed for that one? But because we try and make sure that you have the information you need. So in your organizations, you can make that decision. Okay, hey, who gets a license or who needs a Teams Premium license going forward to be able to get the most benefit?
Lots of use of our favorite word, license. But
it's not Copilot.
And
we'll talk about that, but
and the licensing changes in this case are beneficial to everyone. So it's reducing the cost. That's not often something that we get to say with the word license. So happy to share those updates. All right. Let's go ahead and begin with scheduling a meeting. So you have a lot of options, obviously, with different meeting types. and different settings associated with your meeting. Like, how many of us record meetings or transcribe them? Anybody? Yes, right? And then how many of those meetings that you're in, like you realize 10 minutes into the meeting, oh, I need to record this. Hold on. And then, who's going to fall on the sword and give the brief update for the recording of everything that was just said in the last 10 minutes? So these are some of the things that happen very often. And when you're scheduling a meeting, you have some options available to you so that you don't have to worry about that. And one of them in particular is meeting templates. Meeting templates takes all of the options that are available to you when you configure a meeting and allows you to pre-select those so that when you're scheduling a meeting, you just have to choose the template. Maybe you have a template that says transcribe only and another one that says record, another one that might do some things like enforce some security options or enforce watermarking. All of the options that are available to you when you configure a meeting are available to configure in meeting templates. The meeting templates are pretty cool in that you can assign templates to different audiences or groups so that, oftentimes for us, we might have salespeople and we'll have like a template for recording, a template for transcribing. There's a couple of other templates that we use where that kind of call out some features when they're meeting with executives, as an example. Project managers, this is a big one in their case as well. So I think most often it's recording and transcription, but we're going to highlight some other capabilities around meeting branding that come into play as well. And some of those capabilities can be configured with meeting templates. So you can have several meeting templates. Like I said, there's many meeting options that go into one meeting template, and meeting templates can be assigned to people. And then they just show up as an available option when you go to schedule a meeting. So good way to ensure that you auto record, right? That automatically record button is there, or automatic transcribe. And then another meeting type that's available to everyone, regardless of whether you have Teams Premium or not, is virtual appointments. Does anybody use virtual appointments here? No, this is not a common feature. The only place that I've seen this used, or I should say the place where I've seen this used the most, is in education, where you have a professor who's scheduling meetings with students, and they'll go to a sign-up page and just book like a 15-minute slot, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. Half the day is booked for that professor.
You need the video license.
No, you do not. You do not need it. You do need the Teams Premium feature to get analytics out of those meetings.
And then also like the SMS messages, reminders.
Yeah.
Because when somebody signs up, they'll get a reminder, say, okay, you can configure, say, okay, 15 minutes before their appointment, send them a text message so that way they remember, oh yeah, I've got to go meet with this professor.
Do you need a phone system?
No, you do not. It is that's a great question, actually. And I'll configure one in here and we'll see if we can't get that generated. I don't know. Yeah.
Quick question before you go back to recording.
Yep.
So within the template, you could set it up to automatically start recording on every meeting that you have.
Every meeting where that template is used.
But you need to manually select that when you create the meeting.
Correct.
So the question is, so you're basically automatically scheduling, like every meeting you got, you want to record it. I'm just recording for repeating for the question. Yeah.
Have the ability to turn it on automatically for every meeting.
That would be more of a policy-driven.
So
yes, you can do that with a policy.
But there's no real way just to do it out of the box. It has to be administrative driven.
Right, like if you wanted that automatically turned on for all users, you could go to the global, like let's say you just had one policy, go to that policy, change that setting, and you're good.
But yeah, like individual to say, okay, I want all of my meetings recorded.
Yeah.
The only way to really do that is to have to go through a template, just make sure when I'm creating it, I just select that template then.
And then a follow-up to that is, then you have control to turn it off.
You can still turn it off as well.
Yeah, As the host.
Well, if you want people to turn it off, yes.
Well, that's true. The policy can control
Yeah, as I
whether they can turn it off or not.
The policy was always driven for compliance, and you didn't want users to have the ability to turn it off.
Yeah, and
Well, Zoom was not about compliance; it was just about end user recording. I'm trying to find a way to bridge that gap for the Zoom users that are coming over to Teams.
I see. In most of the environments that I work, this is coming up from a lot of different angles. So we talked yesterday at the keynote, at the panel, there was discussion about like, what is memory, what is knowledge, and meeting recordings and transcriptions contributing to that. And not every company is doing that. Most of the companies that I work with are setting retention cycles for all transcription, any recordings, and there are definitely meetings that should not be recorded. So taking that into consideration, I'd argue that maybe having a policy-driven approach is not the best.
Right.
I was thinking on it as well. The one thing I would probably suggest in that situation is reverse it. Every meeting is recorded, but you have a template to say this one is not. So that way they can still choose, but if your organization says, hey, we want these recorded, then the default is recorded. And then in the situations where they say, hey, this one should not be, they have a specific template that they can choose because that's more the exception than the rule.
And it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of different ways this can go down. Like when you configure the template and you say like auto record as an example, you can also configure whether the meeting organizer can turn off recording or not. So you can force it.
All right.
For the templates, is it required administrative?
It isn't. It's a Teams admin configuration, and then that gets published down to the audience that should consume or have the capability to use the template.
On the selecting of the meeting templates, are you able to scheduling out Outlook? Can you see
No.
the meeting templates? You have to schedule it.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that they've started working on it. I don't know, remember where it's in the status.
It's
can't remember
not there yet because I schedule most of my meetings out of Outlook. Yeah, I think.
I remember the last time I did that.
But so this, you definitely would have to go to the Teams calendar to see. Yeah, we're going to get to demo, which is probably where we should just be. I'm going to just skip over all the virtual appointment stuff. And in fact,
since we've got enough questions, let's go jump to demo on this part.
yeah.
Here nonetheless.
I need a. Who here works with AI? Anybody? Right? Do you use a PC when you work with AI?
Yes, it slows it down.
It's interesting thing as well is a lot of the vendors also their features come to Macs first. OpenAI. All their stuff comes there first, and then they eventually come out to PC. So I've got a.
I am
Mac,
using
I got a
Edge.
Mac I roll in the back pocket.
Right. Throwing a bone here. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're in the Teams Admin Center, and just right off the bat, like Microsoft has made it a little easier to find all of the Teams premium features. So it used to be that these features were just kind of sprinkled in line with wherever you were going to apply them. And so now pretty much all of this is right at the top here, and you can access all of your Teams premium features. Come on.
Chrome.
And Chrome, yeah. So as we scroll down here, there's quite a few things that, like, if you all have been on these pages, then you can get a quick snapshot of who's licensed, usage reporting, and features. And this is where, on the feature advisor, where you'll be able to see most of the features available with Teams Premium.
And the nice part is you can see the features, plus there's quick jumps to the configuration of them. So it's not like, okay, here's the feature, I have to go find it. There's an actual, hey, I want to jump straight to meeting templates. And it'll take you right to the spot in the Teams Admin Center.
Yeah, so we're obviously focused on meetings in the session. So most of the stuff is going to be at the top. We're going to get into the protection capabilities and some of the other things that you can take advantage of in just a moment. But this first line here, meeting templates, click on the link, and it allows you to go to where you would configure these templates. Now, I can click on add to add a new template, and as well, there's some pre-built templates and the templates that I've created. So essentially, there's templates there by default, right? Whatever you're using with the license that you currently have is essentially a template. And I say that because if I go into calendar and click on the new drop down, here are those templates, kind of small, apologies, but you can see some templates up there in that upper right. All of those are the default templates.
If you had a PC, he could use Zoom It to be able to zoom in.
Yeah. Now there's view all templates, and when I click on that, there's a nice dialog that allows for me to see all of the templates that have been created, including some of these that I've configured with some auto record settings and things of that nature.
And you'll notice like the difference between like when we looked at Teams Admin Center, it was not that long of a scroll about all the templates that are there. It's like, for example, like the one on the top of the list here right now, live event, is one of Microsoft's out of the box ones. So if we scroll up on this list, there's also webinars, there's town halls. Those are all just templates coming out of the box. You don't need any special license to get those. But one of the things is to see the custom meeting templates, the only people that see those are those that have Teams Premium license. So if they don't have a Teams Premium license, they can click on the drop down. They won't see any templates other than just the basic Microsoft provided ones.
You're using Outlook, what's your default template?
Just a meeting.
Yeah.
Just a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before your question, just want to call out, dovetailing what Ryan said. This means that in order to use a template, you have to have a Teams Premium license, right? But then the people that are in the meeting do not need a Teams Premium license to experience the features that you've configured in the template.
Can you limit the access for certain types of users to a certain subset of templates?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question is, can we limit who can see specific templates? Yeah, there's just like anything else in Teams Admin Center, there are policies that you can apply. Those policies can also be applied to groups and people. So however you need to split that up.
No, I have not been able to do that.
It would be. Now, like we said before, this set, because like he's pulled open the configuration for a template. This is all the stuff that you can set. You can, like if you just go ahead and create one in Outlook, you can come in and set the exact same options, because really the only thing that the template does is defaults your meeting options. Yeah. So if you wanted to, you could come in and say, okay, go to the options. Okay, I want to record. I want to set this. It just increases the opportunity for user error. It's like, oh, oops, I forgot to check this setting, and now I got to go back and check it after the meeting started, for example. So that's the benefit of doing it in Teams, is you can get all that defaults in place, and you don't have to remember like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't set it to record.
So just wanted to kind of maybe take a step back, take a step up. I went to the Teams calendar, created a new meeting, and then clicked on meeting options, right? And so these are really the options that we're talking about. And as Ryan indicated, if you're in Outlook, you can click a new event, and there's meeting options there as well. If I go over here and start to configure a meeting template, these are all the options that we were just seeing in that new event that I generated from the calendar. Just
same options, same order. So if you need to try and figure out, okay, hey, wait a minute, I know I've got this option in the meeting options. Where do I find it to set it in the template? They're stacked the same. So I did notice we have Microsoft changed one thing in the UI. Heaven forbid. In the meeting template, the first section is called security, whereas in Teams they call it, this is security. The other one's meeting access. So they kind of changed up the UI a little bit, but just other than that, they're generally in the same order and in the same sections.
So I think these are the settings that we're futzing with the most, I think, the ones that kind of catch us off guard a little bit. And certainly you can set auto record and transcribe right here. So again, I think that's the one that's most commonly used.
No, not yet.
That would be cool.
It is cool.
It is cool. You know what else is cool? Being able for two people to share their screens. Yeah, it's amazing what a time saver that is. Like, how long's that been around? For a long time. Yeah. So hopefully we see some of those features that we've been asking for years to make it into the platform. But a big time saver here. Any other questions? Do you guys want to see anything else from this admin side of the house? Okay, cool. We can certainly loop back to this. And what we'll do as we talk about some of the features during the meeting and even after the meeting is have opportunities to loop back into this screen to see where you might configure some of those options. Yes. And
what additional data are you looking for? What data is useful? That's a very let me put my consultant hat on and say it depends. But as far as like most of the things, Teams Premium itself doesn't really say, okay, hey, we're adding in a lot of analytics. There's all the features, like Teams itself in the admin center has a lot of analytics on things, call quality, what's features are being used, all that sort of stuff. So Teams Premium doesn't add anything necessarily on that level. Most of the Teams Premium features that we're going to be talking about are user centric as opposed to admin centric.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the only like analytics as it relates to this talk would be the virtual appointments, right. Which we're not. Really
that's just like the end users analytics. Like, okay, hey, my appointments, how many people have joined, how many didn't show. It's not really anything beyond that, but.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yep. And frankly, it operates exactly like a bookings page. So
it's like the virtual appointments are configured as part of bookings as well. So it's all part of the same backend system for that. But the virtual appointments allows a little more, with Teams Premium, allows a little more analytics, a little bit more of management of that for the user. And like I said, not necessarily something the admins have to get into, but like if you're talking like in sports, you have to, hey, you got a personal trainer, they can schedule out all their stuff. They can see, okay, hey, I had 20 appointments scheduled today, 5 of them didn't show. So you can kind of see some numbers about, okay, hey, are we seeing a trend here? Do I need to check out with these people a little more, do a little more personal reach out? But
all right,
sweet, my turn. All right, so we've talked about before a meeting. Okay, this next section we're going to talk about is all the features that Teams Premium gets us during a meeting. So first thing we get, and Galen alluded to it a little earlier, is a branded experience. Okay, so talking about the meeting lobby, we do get the option, we can put some branding in there. No videos yet, but we do have the option of being able to put in some color schemes and some backgrounds and things, just kind of say, hey, this is our organization. And when we're talking about enhanced connections, it instills confidence in people to be able to say, okay, hey, I recognize that, okay, this is the people. I'm not just joining into some random black box meeting that I don't know whose it is. So it does give them that. Plus, the cool things you get the meeting branding, which we talked about, and then organization backgrounds are like, so you can provide I forgot the word I'm looking for, but a list, a curated, that's right, curated list of meeting backgrounds. Like, so that way when somebody says, hey, I want to remove my background, instead of just they have to go upload or choose one of the out of the box ones that Microsoft provided, you can say for your company, I want people to be able to choose from ones that we provide. So if you're having an organization, you're with Microsoft, you're with Comms vNext, you can have a set that just say, hey, I just want to pick one that's Comms vNext specific, and you're off and running. As far as both of these features, like the organization backgrounds, In order to use that, you have to have Teams Premium. For the meeting branding, the organizer has to have Teams Premium. Everybody else gets to see it without the license, but they have the person organizing it, scheduling the meeting, has to have Teams Premium. And included with that branding, you'll notice on this screen here, and we look at it a little bit as well when we get into the demo, there's a lack of purple. Okay? Anybody that's been in Teams for a while knows that, okay, Teams' default color is purple. But as you can see, like we've got, this one is gone with a more of a green color scheme with it. So when you're configuring your meeting branding, you can choose a prominent color that's like as part of your brand, and then you apply it, and it covers everywhere. Almost everywhere you see the Teams purple usually, your color will not take its place. So whether that's on the buttons, that's on the mute, that's on the menu in the top in the meeting, anywhere that purple is gets replaced with your color.
So you're saying that the person booking the meeting has to have a premium account. Let's say an executive admin, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should have the premium account where the executive may not need it.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's why I corrected myself. The person scheduling the meeting is the one that needs it. In a lot of cases, this is okay, the organizer, but in the executive enterprise situations, yeah, we understand there are EAs. So Microsoft's made it. It's pretty much the person that's scheduling it is the person that needs the license. All right, cool. So another one, if we're talking like large organizations, we've got live translation. Now, this is not the Copilot interpreter level of translation where you get auditory. It's just the captioning. So you can go through, you can choose all the languages. People go in and say, hey, I want to see the captions in Spanish or French or any one of 40 different languages. And then as the meeting is going, this takes advantage of the transcription. And then they use AI to translate it into whatever language they select.
Does anybody have meetings with people that speak where maybe English is not their primary language? Okay, cool. And then sometimes where I might meet with folks who might have a heavy accent, then I'll turn this on as well, right?
Yeah.
Just to get all the assistance. I'm also hard of hearing, so sometimes it helps me to read instead of listen.
You can talk with
Yes.
them.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's basically as long as the organizer has Teams Premium, or actually no, this one is one of the ones that this is actually the person wanting it needs Teams Premium. They can go in at any point in time and say, hey, I want to turn on live captions, and they can choose the language that they want. So, yes.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
As far as like the meeting organizer, I can choose which language the meeting is the primary language in the meeting, so it knows where to translate it from. But yeah, the user can say, hey, I want it in French. He could have it in Spanish. Somebody else could have it in German. Somebody else could have it in Japanese. It doesn't really care.
And this does not impact the transcript or the recording. So just keep that in mind.
Does it happen automatically, or is it also Teams Admin Center and be able to do translation?
This is all just built in. So the user in the meeting just goes in and say, hey, I want to see the captions, and they choose the language, and they're done.
Yeah.
No admin required.
Per user. So you can turn it off and on yourself.
So it's fine.
Yes.
Correct.
Now, one of the things that's kind of sad, anybody here done like town halls, live events in Teams? We got one. I got one. The Zoom guy has done it in Teams. Wow.
Yeah, nice.
You got to know how the competition works. One of the things I love that kind of shows Microsoft's geek cred when it comes to this space, if you're trying to shoot, they have the same feature in live events. You can choose, that one you have to choose like up to 6 languages beforehand. So Galen and I were preparing for a multinational event that we've run, and going through and selecting the languages, I was scrolling down to go select that Korean was one of the languages we were going to translate to because we had people in Korea. Getting down close to Korean, guess what language I found in the dropdown? Klingon.
Oh,
Yeah, literally. If you go into Teams live events and configure it and choose the language, Klingon is there.
Yeah.
I haven't verified if Town Halls has it yet or not, but I know this Klingon is not one of the 40 languages that they've got support for right now. Maybe we'll get there, but it's like, I don't speak it, but it's one of those, I had to get a good chuckle when I saw it. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So,
Yeah.
yes. So, but yeah, so like this one really comes in handy for people to be able to say, hey, I want to be able to take advantage of this. No extra admin required. I don't even know if it's something they can, I don't even see an UI to turn that off either. But anyway, So like I said, that we're good with that one. And then the next section we're talking about is more of protection in the meeting. Okay, what can we do to protect our content in the meeting? So we have, as we can see on the right there, we have watermarking. So I can choose whether I want to watermark the shared content or the camera feeds or both.
It's just video watermarking?
Yeah.
No audio?
Yeah. Yeah, that's just on the video at this point. Then also one of the next ones we got is we have end-to-end encryption. So if you're in a very sensitive meeting, you don't want, this is one of those ones, hey, I don't want this recorded, which by the way, you can't record, so it comes in handy that way. But with end-to-end encryption, it's like you get a max of 200 people. And then there are, just to keep in mind there, if you're turning this on, this is also one of the things you can turn on in meeting options if you have Teams Premium, is it also removes some other features. So before you go turning it on, Microsoft has a defined list on Microsoft Learn of, okay, here's all the things you don't get. Like one of the things you don't get recording, you don't get dial-in users anymore. They all have to connect in through the Teams app or the Teams website, Teams app in the browser, one or the other. So there are some restrictions that come into play with it just so they can make sure that they're protecting that particular content. I don't believe so. I don't believe transcription's off. It won't retain. But because that, like I said, for accessibility, they have to leave it on so that people can do captions during the meeting.
Speech to text is still running.
Right.
So that means that you can also use Copilot in the meeting as well.
In the meeting.
Yeah.
If you leave the meeting, that's another story.
Yeah.
But you can ask Copilot questions during the meeting.
Correct. Summarize this meeting before it ends.
Hey, what did I miss since I joined in a little late? What recap? Yeah.
So for the watermarking, same question, needs to be enabled in Teams admin center for an individual user, or if I have Teams Premium, I can watermark it out.
If I remember correctly, the watermarking is actually tied to tied into the next one. It's kind of tied to sensitivity labels. So those two go together because you can choose as part of the sensitivity label which watermarks you want on, and so that's the configuration of it is an admin level. Yeah, and as part of like the sensitivity labels, including hey, who can access it, who can get into your meetings, so on and so forth, including the watermarking. That's where I go in and I can specify, which parts do I want watermarked? It is not as fancy. It doesn't give as many options if you dealt with sensitivity labels of, hey, I want to do a dynamic watermark. It pretty much just says, you're going to do it, and it's going to splat the email address of the account they're signed in with across all those pieces. And the last one is hide attendee names. So this one really comes in handy if you're in a meeting necessarily not with your own people, but people outside of your organization. So you're thinking, you've got a large community event, you have a meeting you're doing with possible competition coming in there. So if we had Zoom sitting in on our meeting, we don't want them trying to steal our clients type situation. You can hide the attendee names, and then nobody that's an attendee can see the names of the people who are signed in with, but the organizers and presenters can. So that way they can say, hey, somebody had a question. They know how to address those situations. All right. Any questions on that? Sweet. All right, let's go ahead and, because next one's the last part. Okay. We'll go ahead and close this. I am creating meetings in Galen's calendar. Wow. Cool. So once this comes up, there we go.
This is what not to do.
We leave this one on there just for that purpose. You'll notice as well, like you said, the purple is now replaced with the reddish orange color, but also you can see we have two logos here on the background. So right above where it says demo meeting, not that button I want.
Spotlight. That's not my spotlight.
There we go. So you can see right here, we've got the actual logo in the little bit. And then we also have the wrong button. We also have the actual logo larger in the background. So that background can be whatever you want. It could be a rolling wave pattern. It could be your branded logo. It could be whatever. One of the things that's kind of fun about this is keep in mind, whatever you want people to see, do not put it in the middle.
Yes.
because it will get covered.
Yeah.
So if there's something that, okay, this is not, like you have the option to put your logo in the top there. If you want your logo, shift it to the sides or to the bottom. Also keep in mind, test what this looks like before you kind of go push it out to everybody. Worked with an organization where they kind of threw one out there, not realizing that if you have like multiple accounts, things will adjust because there's more stuff on the top. So then the logo shifts, like the part here shifts down, so more of the logo is visible. So if you're expecting your logo to be on the bottom, it could now get covered a little bit. So definitely take a look at it. Also, there was one where they actually had like a seam in the image that ran right across the center. So just make sure you kind of test it out so you know what it looks like before you're pushing it out to everybody.
Definitely something that, like salespeople take advantage of this, PMs. It's usually a conversation starter if you've never seen this before, like from a team's perspective. It's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah.
All right, then if we go carry on here. All right, cool, we're unmuted. So from here, we're going to show you the live translation. So if I come into, I would keep more freely move it. Sorry, view. All right, where'd they move it to?
What's that?
The
Language
captions.
and speech.
There it is. There it is. Okay. Whoop. That selected fast. Okay. So you come to the language and speech. You have the option to turn on live captions. So we can see it's doing its thing. It's translating what I'm saying. If I want to come now in and say, hey, I want this in a different language, I come in and I can say language settings, and I want to translate it to, we'll go Spanish. Okay, and now we can see on the bottom here, it's now translating into Spanish. If I come in and I pop open the transcription, which we don't have on at the moment, just to show that, this is all working just with the built-in Teams speech to text. If I turn on transcription, so now the transcription will show up here in a second.
Just keep talking, keep talking.
Well, there we go.
You hit recording, does it automatically start transcription?
If you start recording, it automatically transcribes.
Yeah.
But there is the option, if I don't want necessarily the recording, I can just say, okay, I just want the transcription only. I can go that route. So.
And that transcription's embedded in that recording, like in the same file.
And then that transcription goes to the stream.
Yeah.
And the transcription, though, is only whatever language you choose, right? So
The spoken language for the
it's
meeting, yes.
not transcription for
Correct.
Correct. So it's one of those things to keep in mind as well. So if you've got somebody that their native language is Spanish, for example, and they're having a meeting in Spanish, they will probably say the spoken language is Spanish. Transcription will be in Spanish. And then they can deal with it afterwards, but.
Yeah, just kind of important to remember that that's kind of a cornerstone for captions, transcription across not just this, but if you're going into like the interpreter agent as well, then, same thing applies there, right? Whatever the default language for the meeting is.
As you can see as well, like when I went into the transcript, it's still showing transcript in Spanish. That's one of the things as the organizer you have to be careful of if you're changing the language. Teams assumes you're changing it for everybody. So, but as we can see as well, I turned on the option. It shows both the original language and the translated language as well. So I have that option since I'm the organizer, but most of the rest of the people, they'll just consume it through the live captions. Yeah.
is the transcription editable?
Yes. Just repeating the question. So is the transcription editable afterwards? Yeah. You would do that through Stream. There's an option you can go in and edit it. Also through Stream, there is the option, this isn't anything Teams Premium or whatever, there is the option you can go in and apply multiple languages. So that way you got like the captions show, like instead of having to burn it into a video, you can say, okay, hey, they can choose as they're going along. All right, we've got 19 minutes.
Maybe we get to meeting recaps.
Yep. I think that's our next part. So. You covered all that. There we go.
All right. So this is the thing that I think traditionally we've been asked about the most. If I have Teams Premium, do I need Copilot? If I have Copilot, do I need Teams Premium? All right. So who here has not seen a meeting recap? Excellent. Then it makes it easier. So when you go into a meeting recap, obviously there's some AI notes there. You see those AI notes if you have Teams Premium, right, or Copilot. So that is really the transcription. All the AI notes are based off of the transcription. There's nothing personal about the AI notes. There's nothing that says, hey, Galen participated in this meeting. This is his role. This is how he relates to what was being discussed. None of that. This is AI summary, AI notes based off of the transcription. So kind of think of it as like everybody has access to this that has Teams Premium or Copilot after the meeting concludes. And it's the same for everyone. So if I go in with Copilot and I say summarize this meeting, and Ryan goes into Copilot and says summarize this meeting, his summary and my summary are going to be different. With AI notes, that's not the case. These are the same. This is for the entire meeting.
And like the way I like to think about this, like the AI recap that we see here is very much like a sports commentator. It's just blow by blow. This is what happened. It's not anything personalized or tailored based off of my experiences, things I may care about. So it's just like, hey, here's what happened. Here's what was discussed. Here are actions that came out of it. And then if you ask it through Copilot, the difference is you can ask it questions. Okay, hey, what was discussed? Where was it? One of the things I've talked to the Microsoft person, they said they use this in a couple clients, is said that with Copilot, you can ask it, okay, what topic was it that was being discussed when the meeting got heated? So when people started getting agitated, what was the topic that it was? And Copilot come back and say, oh yeah, here's what was talked about. Granted, it's not taking anything by voice tone, it's just by transcription, as Galen mentioned. But at least you can say, okay, hey, this is where like the language started changing to be more agitated. Copilot can give you that answer. But then again, like I said, it also will say, hey, this is the stuff that I know Ryan cares about. If I ask for a summary, it's going to give me a more technical focus than some of the other people that may ask the same question.
So oftentimes, like what I'm seeing nowadays is that like PMs will send out notes after a meeting. And they're either sending out this or they're sending out whatever notes facilitator took, depending on how they're licensed. But oftentimes it's like copy, paste, here's your notes. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about that.
One of the things that's interesting,
any PMs in the room?
No,
should have asked that first.
But one of the things that's interesting as well is like, if we look at like in your tenant, if you look at anybody that has Copilot, if you look at the number one used feature of Copilot, it's this.
Yeah,
it's the one that most people take advantage of because they, hey, and the reason we talk about like enhanced connections, one of the reasons we love this feature is it allows you to be present in the meeting. There are a lot of times like before I had this, or like as they're rolling it out, I'm like, oh, I wish I had that. Because I'm sitting there taking notes in a meeting with a client and they're like, all right, what do you think, Ryan? I'm like, sorry, can you repeat that? I was in the middle of noting down what we're covering. So this way allows you to be present in the meeting without having to be distracted by something that's valuable to the meeting, but it still does take your focus away.
Did you have a question, sir?
It's not a question. I am a project manager.
Uh-oh, you upset him, Galen.
I was doing this cut and paste, which I did
Yeah.
for a long time, for a thing called Fireflies. But that was a long time. But just trying to tell our people, just go here.
Right.
You need to know. I'm not going to give you meeting notes, but right here.
Yep.
To see this though, like I said, the license for this is they have to have Teams Premium or they have to have Copilot to see the AI recap.
Yeah. We have access.
Okay, then they've got the licensing.
Yeah, you can copy paste.
You could, yeah.
That's sort of friction.
Yeah.
What, like, so now going beyond this meeting, sorry, Ryan, but just to expand out a little bit, if you have Copilot licenses, then when you go into the meeting recap, at least for me, depending on what the purpose of those notes are, right? Because you send out notes, who reads the notes? No one. No one does. But if I do not attend a meeting, then I'll go in and get an audio recap of that meeting, and then I can download a bunch of audio recaps and go on a walk and get caught up. So I would advise maybe exploring that feature. I find that executives or leaders tend to use that way more than they would read any email that gets sent.
Sorry. One of the biggest things I've seen myself and other users using it for is your double and triple book.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you need to catch up
Yeah.
at the end of the day on what occurred in other events.
No doubt.
And if you can't watch it, you have the ability to sit after dinner and read the recap.
No doubt. I think it's very interesting that, like, to me, I look at stuff like this, like those audio recaps, because I use that a lot. And because I tend to walk a given distance and it takes the same amount of time. So how many meetings can I listen to?
Exactly.
So like a 1 hour meeting typically has between 7 and 10 minutes of content that's in that audio overview. And that includes, I use the podcast format. So that's like, 30 to 45 seconds of them like doing their back and forth stuff. So in my opinion, I'm like, there's a 1 hour meeting, and out of that, there's 7 to 10 minutes of content that's worth attending the meeting for.
I treat it like NHL hockey right now, right?
Yeah.
I watch the highlights the day after the game.
Yep.
I just don't listen to see what the score is.
Yeah.
I watch the highlights.
Yeah.
And in 15 minutes, I got to see the entire game.
Very
At least
good.
The parts that were important.
Yeah.
Of the game.
I go to a lot less meetings. Like, I cut my meetings by half at least.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to go to this. I'll read the thing, whatever, and go on.
Yeah. A huge time saver or
Yeah.
gainer. Maybe we skip demo here based off of time.
Yeah, we've already covered demo for most of this stuff. So then you guys have all seen the recap, so we don't need to go too far into that. So based off of timing, so this is all the stuff that Microsoft changed beginning of last month. Okay, so April 1, April Fool's Day, this all went into effect. And it's one of those things that's really hard to really definitively lock down what you will see versus what you will not. Like per the Microsoft documentation on April 1st, it's anybody that renews their license after April 1st. So if you're in a large organization with volume licensing, you've got a years-long agreement, you may not see some of these changes until your agreement renews. So that could be 2, 3, however many years from now, you actually see these updates. Anybody that's starting out, like new tenants, they will see this immediately. Or anybody that purchases like new licenses will see it. And it's like the first one is a lot of the features that we used to have a whole section about specialized connections where we're talking about town halls, webinars, Microsoft Mesh, all this sort of stuff. Now Microsoft pulled the extra licensing for that, and it's now included with the license. So it used to be, okay, hey, if you wanted to be able to do the branding, you wanted to be able to do a lot of the features that Teams Premium required for webinars, you want to be able to do the registration page, you want to be able to do wait lists, all this stuff is now included with the license.
With a Teams license.
Correct.
Like a Teams enterprise license.
So you don't need Teams Premium for it anymore.
Did the CDX already have this demo? CDX demo?
Yeah, I know. Where are the demo tenants? Depends on, I think, when the tenant was created.
I haven't checked those transform tenants. No.
Yeah.
But like those simulated environments, I haven't seen if they're updated yet.
Yeah. So like I said, a lot of the functionality got pulled in. But like I said here, your existing licenses are honored. Something you've already paid for, you still have it, like I said, until you have to renew it. And then one big change is the large event add-on. So it used to be like with Teams Premium, you had like 10,000, 20,000, just depending on which type you're doing, that you could get. With the new change, you get 3,000 in interactive mode, and then you can get up to like 10,000 in view only. If you need more than that, they have an attendee capacity pack add-on. So you can say, okay, hey, for this event, I need to be able to handle 25,000 people, all in interactive. You can do that. I think from a lot of organizations I've been with, don't usually hit these limits. So it's like, okay, most people may not ever need the extra capacity packs, but for those that do, it is an option.
On the capacity pack,
Mhm.
if you buy it, is it for a year term? Or
If I
is it
remember
per
correctly,
event?
it's not per event. I think it's a monthly thing. So you can say, okay, hey, you can say, hey, for this month, this is all of your events during that month. You have that capacity pack available to you. So if you're having a lot of events, cool, you're getting your money's worth. If you just have one, it gets a little pricier.
It kind of moved to the licensing that you see across the industry. Right?
Yeah,
The industry's kind of been there before Microsoft got there.
no doubt. No, it makes me think of higher ed. Like I was working in higher ed during COVID, and all of the graduation ceremonies were all Zoom.
So yeah, a lot of like I said, the biggest change is like in relation to these specialized, so town halls, live events, webinars. Also, one of the things that there is a change, like Galen and I are doing a session this afternoon on immersive events. It used to be to be able to get like mesh events, as they used to call it. Everybody that wanted to participate had to have Teams Premium. As part of this as well, it's now changed that only the organizer has to have Teams Premium to do an immersive event. So we'll talk about that later, what those are today, but that's just kind of a lot of the changes that play into that. And then we do have a quick view of what changed. So like I said, all of these are related to like town halls, webinars, and immersive. These are the features that got pulled into now native. You don't need the Teams Premium license for anymore.
So like, I think most of these event types, like immersive events, is not something that is done regularly, at least in my experience. Town halls, similar, like, maybe it's done more than immersive events in my experience, but not as often. But webinars is something that, at least in my experience, I'm seeing used more and more and more, especially with the amount of AI training that is required now. Like, instead of scheduling meetings with people, like with a department, they might just say, hey, here's 10 webinars, go sign up. Right, and then human capital's, monitoring that to ensure people are signing up, especially if it's mandatory. But you get that registration page. All of that branding now gets wrapped in to this license. So that's, I think, one of the event types where I'm seeing that used more and more and more, whereas before it was rarely used in my experience.
And that's it. We see a lot of organizations as well kind of transitioning from meetings to webinars for that exact purpose. Because otherwise, okay, if I have this mandatory training, we have 5 different instances of it. They used to send out a meeting and everybody was invited and they had to say, okay, accept or decline. So now this becomes more of, okay, instead of flooding their inboxes, they can just come in and say, okay, hey, this is the one I want. I'm going to go sign up for it. They get an invite just for that particular instance and not the others that exist with it.
Do you find that you are doing those more as a live stream? When you're going from maybe a 8-pack to a various, I don't want to do it live.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. It all kind of depends on the content and like what we're trying to suss out of the attendees. Like I've been doing a ton of Copilot Studio, agent training, all of that type of stuff. And it seems that like region to region, the scenarios are changing. So then there's more Q&A. And if I'm present, then the connection is better. And they get more out of it.
You could even combine the two as well. Just do recording and then a live Q&A for people who have questions. But yeah, we get that point. It's like, okay, hey, do I want to do the exact same thing 3 times just because of different time zones? Maybe not. But the one thing that does make it really nice, as like anybody that does in a presentation, this presentation has been different than every other one we've done because we have the audience interaction, which is kind of like depends. You have to balance. Okay, do I really want to do it 3 times in a day? Maybe not, but there may be some instances, okay, where some specific questions can guide the discussion a different route, things that may relate more to the audience.
And part of what factors into that, in my opinion, is what out-of-box tools are available to me when I'm in this meeting type so that I can have a higher quality delivery, and all of the intros and outros and the lower third, like some of the things that you would expect to see or to consume if you were watching a video or a recorded delivery, they're not exactly available in the platform. So hopefully that matures over time as well.
Well, one thing that's nice about these changes as well is this third row here for webinars. This allows you to be able, like, in the instance you do want to record it and just rebroadcast it, you can do that instead of having to, okay, hey, I've got to share my screen. You can say, okay, hey, use an encoder. Say, okay, I'm just going to take this recording from the previous meeting, just push it out. This used to be a Teams premium level. Now it's just included with webinars. Town Hall has it included for a long time, but webinars used to be a Teams premium required. So now it's included for everybody that's got doing a webinar.
So with that one, it reminded me, are you guys seeing more requests from end users to
Some, yeah. Not,
integrate into it? I've been seeing a lot more requests of, I fired this out.
Mhm.
I now see NDI available and features available in Teams.
Mhm.
Can I just do my own NDI broadcast for my NDIs? And having more conversations around the design of trying to do that.
I have not. I have not, because typically in my experience, they're going through the same team to do this broadcast.
and I think I remember like the RTMP in does not necessarily, that's not NDI specific. So this is like, okay, I can have a hardware encoder that's basically connected like in the back of the room. I know they've got them. They could stream it straight in. Like NDI is going to be more of, okay, hey, I've got a different set of hardware and I just present it in as like an attendee. It comes in as my video feed essentially.
The common one I see,
Mhm.
and it's now, it could change, right, because this is all new. But they want to now take the FTR that's hosting
Mhm.
the live piece
Mhm.
and broadcast it to the cafeteria screen
Oh,
for 500 other people to just be able to.
Yeah.
but there is also a feature for RTMP out as well. So that like you could take an NDI feed out of it, but then you could also just have an RTMP just straight over to that other, as long as you have a streaming server to pick it up in the cafeteria, or unless you do like a private event in YouTube or whatever. But
Yeah, but people are trying to take a lot of this in-house,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah,
Microsoft has been putting a lot of focus on this particular area, the event space.
Yes.
Reshuffle.
Yep.
We're seeing especially with deference to our tattoo nerd over here. Microsoft's behind you, frankly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In this space fairly significantly, and
Right.
customers are reflecting change as a result of that. It'll be interesting to see, if they're able to catch up or but big migration gets stuck.
Yeah, there are a lot of features that Zoom has that aren't even anywhere on the roadmap for Teams. I'm sure Microsoft has evaluated and they're like, okay, hey, it's somewhere in their backlog, but yeah, we don't have it just yet.
There's a new PM, like product manager, on Microsoft side focused on his name is Jim Garland.
Hmm.
And they're pretty heavily focused on trying to bridge this gap. But we see it pretty commonly. To Mike's point, there's a lot of surging interest.
I know we're almost out of time. We'll just kind of blow through the last slide, but I do use a third-party product to help level up some of the broadcasts that I do in Teams for live events and things of town halls, things of that nature. So happy to talk about some of those. We were definitely talking with the product team about leveling up the features, and I know that they're trying to match even the third-party providers that are Microsoft partners in the space. Some interesting conversations about those features. Yeah, so I think in a nutshell, these are some of the benefits of Teams Premium that we covered. But certainly if you double click into any of these and you want to talk later, please hit us up on LinkedIn. And you'll just have to connect with us and talk to us
Looks like our
outside of this session in order to make that happen. Certainly we're on all the socials. And yeah, So, like I said, I do have, in fact, we had the same session at M365 conference, and somebody came up and was asking about like town halls and how do you level up those broadcasts and all that type of stuff. And I'm not here to endorse any product or anything like that, but I've run events like from my phone, like for the most part in-house, as the gentleman in the back is, but then had to catch a flight and like managed them on my phone, on the Uber to the airport, and then like completely switched it over to AI to manage as soon as I got on my flight. And it's all worked really, really well. So I had some of those conversations, and what I didn't realize is that I had like that company, like free stuff from that company. So if you guys want any of this, because it's been in my backpack for a long time. It's not that heavy, but it's not doing anything. Yeah, it's not doing me any good being in there. So you're more than welcome to have it. Yeah. If you have any questions, like I said, hit us up. And on LinkedIn, would love to carry on the conversation all about enhanced connections. So hopefully we've made a few today, and look forward to continuing the convo after the session and the conference. Thanks a lot.